assisting doing his feet. These are dead weight tactics by Mr. Wenzel. There's some language again that he's using, and he refuses to get up. Let's conclude the use of force. This is directly quoted right from our report that everyone here from the media is going to get a copy of it as well. But it is the belief of the investigators from the Green Bay Police Department that the force used by Officer Wicklund was justifiable and objectively reasonable. His actions fit within the Green Bay Police Department's use of force policy and the techniques trained by the state of Wisconsin as outlined in the Defensive and Arrest Tactics Manual. What do the training and standards say? And again, you'll have a copy of this as well, but this is their language. The State of Wisconsin Training and Standards Bureau reviewed our investigation, included this. These are their words, quote, "It does not appear that Officer Wicklund used force in excess of that taught in basic DAT preparatory training. The techniques used were either trained techniques or dynamic applications of trained techniques." These are their words. Here's our summary of this incident, and this is very important to understand and think about. The subject's behavior in this video that the officers had to deal with is unacceptable in our community, period. Their behavior is what created a disturbance and compromised the safety of officers and the public. That is the focus of this incident, not the officer's use of force. That behavior cannot be tolerated. They compromised themselves, the officers, and the community as a whole. And so with that, that's my conclusion of the use of force portion. We're going to take a few moments right now to answer some questions. We'll do them one by one and give an opportunity to ask any follow-up, if you will, myself, Captain Runge, Captain Galvin, and we'll proceed from there.
If you had this incident happen again, same situation where it's at bar time, a lot of drunk people, presumably drunk people on the street, officers showed up, pretty much the exact same situation, would you want your officers to respond in the same way, or is there anything that you would change?
You know, that's interesting because a number of people have asked, would you do something differently or how would you handle it? Any incident can be handled differently. My skill set, my abilities might be different than another officer's, and they actually are. 10 different officers are going to do things differently. We ask that they do that within the parameters of acceptability, use their skill sets, do it appropriately, be a professional. But might it be exactly like that? Yes. And so each scenario, each incident dictates how the officers respond, but it may be a slightly different way that I do it than Captain Runge does it.
Would you encourage them to respond the same way?
The officers?
Mm-hmm.
I guess a number of things we point out. Be assertive, be decisive, be professional, okay? Take swift, immediate action. You know, we can what if a lot of things, and that's one thing we don't want to do is what if.
It just all depends on what they're, you talk about perception of the threat, that ongoing assessment. You know, every officer may perceive the situation differently. You know, it's going to be different.
Anyone else?
Where is the audio on the Coben video? I know a lot of times on calls, mics are left open for responding officers. Where's that audio? Because it wasn't a part of that video.
Yeah, and this happens all the time. This is not uncommon for video, for audio stuff not to work or not to be turned on appropriately. For whatever instance, there's no audio in here. I don't have no reason. I don't know why it's not on. It's just not on. Now those mics are in the squad, but they're also on the officers. But if the officer doesn't have it on, or there was some sort of a technical glitch, I don't know. But audio is not always on. For whatever reason, that happens.
Do you expect the public to be satisfied with the result of this investigation?
You know, the investigation we put together, I can assure you, was very thorough. I challenge anyone to look at that and ask for a different angle we could have taken. I can only tell you that we put in countless efforts, hours, of looking at this from a number of different angles, using a number of different professionals. There are a lot of qualified, experienced, well-trained trainers at this department that evaluated this And not only that, we went the extra step of involving the state of Wisconsin. And I do not think, any more thorough and transparent than what has been put together for this incident. That's my find,
I would suggest to you that most of the public will be satisfied if they have the opportunity to review this whole presentation that Lieutenant Ramos put out, and if they have the opportunity to review the material that we'll provide to you. We know there's that portion of society that, and that's a small segment, I believe, that's not going to be happy no matter what. We understand that. We live with it. But we think that the public in general will accept what we've provided.
Will you be posting these different videos on social media?
This whole presentation will be posted as soon as this press conference is over.
Lieutenant, going back to your football analogy, and this is what I think your critics will get at, is that if there's a play in question, that team will not investigate that play as the Department of Investigating Officer. What would you say to that accusation?
You know, you have to have faith in your law enforcement, period. You know, officers take an oath. We're sworn into this job to be ethical and professional. We have the resources here to do it. We open ourselves to be as transparent as possible so that you can see what we've done. And what we've done is consistent with the training that we've received from the state of Wisconsin, that we train our officers as well. We have the resources to do this, period. I know on the heels of the in-custody deaths and some of the things, the initiatives the states have taken, they've chose to do that. At this point, we don't need to do that for every one of these things in terms of incorporating the state and going above and beyond. That could be a decision we make in the future as well for each individual incident. But we have the ability, we have the people, and quite frankly, once you look at everything that has been done, I think that you will see and understand that it's a credible agency that was putting together a transparent investigation.
I think it shows that with our department seeing this video initially, the fact that we took the steps to initiate the investigation, this wasn't based on a complaint. It was based on us looking at it and saying, let's take a look at this. Let's make sure everything was done correctly and by the book. And I think that investigation is showing that.
So what's the next step now that Officer Wicklund has been exonerated of any excessive use of force? Is he back on the street? Is there time that's supposed to be done on his desk duty? What's that status?
Well, he'll be put back in regular duty. He wasn't technically assigned to desk duty. He was just given other duties that took him out of the spotlight. He was doing very important police work that was needed, but yeah, he'll be back in patrol here very shortly. He's got some other training coming up, but he should be good.
What about the investigation into the threats that were made against Officer Wicklund and other officers in the wake of this video going viral on the internet?
You know, I don't think that, if you're talking about the anonymous video, I don't think that went anywhere that we could link it to.
Is there anything that you see coming out of this, changes to be made or training, anything like that you foresee doing?
You know, we always critique and look at our behavior and what we've done and our actions in the public and like anything else, how can we do things better? And even with that court case, understanding Graham versus Connor, hindsight 2020 is, you know, that's the benefit that somebody might have on Monday morning to look at things. But without a doubt, though, we're going to look, and we have looked, and we say, here are some areas we can improve upon, here are some areas that we excelled upon, but we do that with so many things when it comes to this job, and when we review use of force reports all the time, we're looking at them, we're reminding officers, hey, you could have considered this is acceptable you did today, also consider these things, but in the end, if it's within the parameters of acceptability and it's reasonable, that's fine. But you will always find things, I don't know if always is fair, but we do look, we're very critical of ourselves. And we'll say, you know what, darn it, I could have done that better. Or darn it, you know what, I wasn't at my best there, but I remember that. That's part of training, and that's part of experience, and that's part of development.
Did you interview Mr. Wenzel at all for this investigation?
We gave him the opportunity to talk to us, but he refused.
I would just say that we did, Lieutenant Bresser and I did have a phone conversation with him. Subsequently, we tried to meet in person, and he declined via his attorney.
Are you guys glad this cell phone video was taken and posted online?
You know, we're not afraid of any of that. I mean, and we've talked about it before with the downtown. Anybody's welcome to post or take any video of any of the police officers doing their job. We're not afraid of that. Watch. If you think you need to post it, fine. Gives us the opportunity to look at it also. Like I said, we're not afraid of any of that. You know, and we made some points a few weeks ago, and I think Lieutenant Ramos did too, was when you're videotaping a police officer doing their job, that we understand that's the public's right, but do not interject yourself into the incident. Do not interfere, and that's why you see Mr. Wheeler and Mr. Wenzel ultimately were arrested, because they interjected themselves into an incident that had nothing to do with them. They interfered with the activities of the officers.
The word transparency keeps coming up in this investigation, this discussion today. A lot of the public feedback that we've gotten, that we've seen, that you've gotten, has been about the speed of the investigation. Why did it take, I mean, it's what, 3 months now?
We had
for this to be released. The video was available. Your report was done in May, I believe.
Well, first we wanted, like we said, we were going to send it to the state. We had a number of people that we interviewed. You'll see from going through the report how many people we attempted to contact repeatedly. We didn't want to cooperate, but there were a number of people that did. We interviewed a number of people. We had to take this video, break it down, and analyze it. There were 4 of us working on this and putting quite a bit of time into it, along with the other duties that are present every day in our job. And then, obviously, you know that we had to turn it over to the state, and that took several weeks to get a response back. That's why, if you look in our policy for investigating incidents like this, we have like a 90-day limit, which sometimes we can extend out if we have to. But that's because through our experience, it does take a lot of time, along with our other duties, to get incidents like this thoroughly investigated and investigated properly.
How did Officer Wicklund react to this?
To what?
To the findings of your investigation?
Well, I think he felt confident about his actions and what he did. Anytime, and I can tell you from my own experience, I've been complained upon. And anytime you have that, it puts you in an uneasy position. Just because you feel confident with what you did, somebody else is going to evaluate it. You trust what you did. Did it create some anxiety for him? Absolutely. Not only that, the problems just spiraled, I think, and exasperated out of control with the way the media, social media, everything handled it, to be honest with you, because there were too many presumptions made too early in this. And unfortunately, I think within a short period of time, people had their minds made up. And when you look at this from the different angles we did, I think it's clear to see that there's definitely more to the story. And so he went through a lot, and his family. I'm confident with what we did. I want to see him keep his professional career moving forward, and us as a community moving beyond this, to be honest with you.
Okay, folks, we're going to move on now. If you guys want to pack up your stuff and exit out to the right here, as you guys are exiting, I will give you a CD with all the information on, along with the paper copy from the state of Wisconsin, and you guys can sign off on it. We are giving them out free of charge on this investigation. We're not charging any of the companies compared to some of the past. So as you guys are packed up and exit out the right, get in touch with me, I'll give you your copies.